Hi, welcome back to another episode of Closed Doors. I apologize if I seem like I'm done with life. I also apologize if the camera is slightly off center. But you know what? My cat has knocked over my setup twice, and I have officially kicked her out of the room. So we're just gonna do this. If you hear meowing, I'm sorry. I'm not answering that door for that cat. Actually, let me fix the camera. There, that's better. It's a little more on center now. So in episode 4, I started why I hate people. Today, thanks to the lovely people I've met on Tinder, we will be doing relationship slash sex edition of why I hate people. Why sex included? Because sometimes you're not in a relationship with someone and you still have sex with them. But there's some things there are some things that people will say and you're like, why? Like, I hate that you said that. I hate that you did that. Like, that's awful, and we're gonna talk about that. um we're gonna start off with Tinder stuff. Why I hate people, number one. This one goes out to the men of Tinder. Please explain to me why you think it's okay to comment on the fact that I said that I have a bad gag reflex. Like, yeah, we're going right off the bat. Let me explain. I have an awful gag reflex. It's terrible to, like, because of my gallbladder surgery, I'm supposed to be drinking this powder that you dissolve in any liquid of your choice, realistically 10 to 15 minutes before my meal. But the problem with that is the powder doesn't fully dissolve, so it's just it's just particles in the water, and that I'm good. We're not going to talk about it anymore. So yeah, I have a really bad gag reflex. And since this stuff with my gallbladder has been happening, it just keeps getting worse, right? If I think about something I think is gross, I will gag at the thought of it. Like, an example is oral sex, right? In some instances, some people will use scientific terms, Elizabeth. Some people will ejaculate into their partner's mouth. I got through saying the word, but I couldn't get through the thought. I have this. So thoughts can cause me to gag. Let me just put it that way. Like, it's a bad gag reflex. But I know Tinder, right? And everybody knows the stereotype of Tinder is that people are only there to have sex. So I decided to put into my Tinder bio, if you're only DTF, if you don't know what that means, you are way too young to be watching this podcast. Please leave now. If you're only DTF, just know I have a bad gag reflex. And before I put that, I would have a lot of people saying something along the lines of, what that mouth do, to keep it PG. After I put that, every single person who decides to comment on the fact that I have a bad gag reflex decides to say, I can fix that. First of all, I didn't tell you to fix that. Second of all, I was trying to deter you away. Third of all, I hate you. Like, why would you comment on that? That was my funny way of telling you to fuck off. I mean, yeah, I guess I did put it in, if you're only down to fuck. Like, as if I was also only DTF, but that's not the case. I don't know why I got Tinder. Okay? Like, I wanted to talk to people. It's the middle of a pandemic. What else do you do? Get on Discord? Oh, maybe I should have done that. I might have not met this one guy. Um, so the only exception I've ever gotten to the gag reflex comment is this one guy who I still don't know if he was joking or not. I still don't know. We both matched on each other. He was attractive, I remember. And then he goes, "Oh, don't worry about that gag reflex. I'm only 2 inches." And I was just like, dude, I can't tell if you're serious or not because I feel like you just roasted yourself. And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm not actually 2 inches." I'm like, what? Like, why would you say that? Like, you could have just been like, "I'm not massive," or "I'm average," or something, because average is like 4.5, 5.5 inches, something around there, if I remember correctly, at least in the U.S. But like, ugh. Oh, also to the men of Tinder, can you stop? Just stop making everything about sex. Like, you realize some people are on Tinder to actually like meet new people and have conversations and build relationships with them, right? Like, you do realize Tinder's not just a hookup app, right? And like, my entire bio is like my entire personality in a nutshell. I mean, yeah, one of the lines is "choke me like you hate me" because corpse, but um like I don't understand why every time I open Tinder, it's just disappointment after disappointment because all the men want to talk about is sex, and I don't like. Yeah, whatever. I'm a sexual person. Like, I'll talk about sex with my coworkers. I'll talk about sex with my friends. Like, I'm not ashamed to talk about sex very clearly. But if I'm on an app that's meant for you to build relationships from it, I'm there to build a relationship from it. I'm not there just to have sex. I mean, in some cases. No, I'm kidding. Just read between the lines, okay? My dad might be hearing me. But at the end of the day, it's why are opening lines always about sex? That's the thing. Like, why opening lines sex? No, get out of here. Get out of here. Oh, to the women of Tinder, because I found my ex-girlfriend on Tinder. Specifically the lesbians. Who broke you? Let me know so I can hurt them. Let me just let me know. I have never met a single lesbian on Tinder who is okay mentally. Never. And I'm concerned for you. So to the lesbians of Tinder, if you're watching, please get some help. I feel like you guys just need someone to talk to, and like, I'm here. Seriously. I don't hate the lesbians of Tinder, by the way. I know this is about why I hate people. I'm getting to that. This is what I hate about the lesbians of Tinder. Tell me why. Y'all are already planning our third date before we've even gone on our first. That's what I want to know. I learned that one the hard way. Like, I go on my first date with my ex-girlfriend, and it was a nice night. We had so much fun. I have never met someone who is more understanding of my sensory issues than that girl, than that woman. Sorry. Everything was super great. Everything was going great. And then we decided to sit in my car in the parking garage because we decided to go to a mall for our first date. Public place, and we're meeting off the internet. Like, of course, we're going to be safe about it, right? And as we're talking, she starts going into like extreme detail of what her exes didn't do that she would want her new partner to do. And a lot of them were pretty basic. Like, I want to see you at least once a week, and I want to talk to you a little bit every day. Maybe we could FaceTime a little bit, stuff like that. And then it got into like certain phrases. And then at some point, I think I zoned out for a minute because the next thing I know, we were talking about our, like, what we would do in future dates if we were to go on future dates. And I was like, I don't I don't know about you guys, but I typically let the first date fully end and then take a day to think about it and think how the connection was and think, oh, did this go well? Was this bad? Did I embarrass myself? Did he seem interested? Did she seem interested? Like, I take a day to assess what happened, but it was like not even the end of the date, and she's like, oh, we're third date, we're gonna go on a picnic. I was like, what? Like, slow down. Take your time. Maybe I just happened to find a U-Haul lesbian. I don't know, but I just know that, like, look, slow down. I hate when people try to rush things. I hate it. It is my second biggest pet peeve when it comes to people. It's just, don't rush something that shouldn't be rushed. It's as simple as that, honestly. And relationships are things that should not be rushed. Also, to my men of Tinder, you want to explain to me why I tell you I'm terrible at starting conversations, and then you just go, hey, how are you? Like, I hate that. I hate that. Do not message me, hey, how are you? Like, I'm miserable, Karen. I'm Gen Z, I want to die. Like, this is what we do, you know? Like, I'm miserable. Don't message me how I'm doing. Like, don't ask me how I'm doing. Just don't. Just start a conversation. What is it with these, what is it with millennials and Gen Zers? And I'm saying that because those are the only two age ranges I could potentially date without getting stared at. What is it with millennials and Gen Zers and not knowing how to start a conversation? Communication is such an important thing in life. And the fact that two generations don't know how to do it, or at least the two generations where I live don't know how to do it, is sad. And it's not just, actually, you know what? I live in Florida. That makes sense. But I'm still going to call everybody out for it. Learn how to communicate. Seriously. Like, I'm taking a public relations course. It's my last semester, thank God, of getting this business degree. And I'm taking a public relations course. And the professor said the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life. If you have ever spoken a word, you have communicated. However, if those words did not come out as intended, you have only spoken. That's awesome, first of all, because I could be sitting here saying the earth is flat. But if there's no meaning behind it, if I'm not trying to clearly communicate something with you with those words, they're just words. Like, I'm sitting here trying to explain to you. I'm trying to communicate with you why I hate people. And if you're not understanding what I'm saying, then I'm just speaking to a camera. However, if you're understanding what I'm saying, I'm communicating to you. Does that make sense? Because that's the way she explained it, and it made sense to me. Either way, learning how to communicate is something that every single person on this planet needs. And there's many different ways of communication. There's touch, there's words, vocals, there's sign language for those who are hearing impaired, and no, the blind wouldn't. Unless you're blind and deaf, in that case you're kind of fucked. But I'm sure there's ways. Don't they communicate by like touch or something? Like Braille? If you're blind, it's Braille. I know that. If you're deaf, it's sign language or a hearing aid. But if we're talking about like ways to communicate, like, yeah, I think I got that down. I probably fucked up. Let me know. But the point is, like, we have millions of ways to communicate, and we refuse to communicate clearly with each other. Like, that's messed up. Like, I don't want to be sitting here in my room wondering if I'm just a friend to you or if we actually have a connection. Like, I want you to tell me, because I'm not going to be the one to say it. I'm too pussy to say it. If you tell me, oh, tell me what you think about me, I'm going to be like, I think you're cool. Why do you ask? Like, that's it. I'm going to ask, like, why? And honestly, if somebody asks me how I truly feel about them, I ask why. Because I genuinely don't want to hurt their feelings. If they're like, I just need a confidence boost. Can you imagine someone's like, can you tell me, like, my train of thought just got completely derailed. Can you imagine somebody's like, tell me what you think of me, and they're mentally having a breakdown and just like, well, I think you're a little annoying sometimes. That's awful. That's an awful thought. Please don't ever do that to somebody. If somebody ever asks you what you think of them, you better ask, why do you ask me? Because you never know. And always ask if they want you to be brutally honest. Oh, here we go. Honesty. Not a single damn person that I've met on Tinder, except for like 2 people actually, are honest. Not a single person. What is it with people just not being honest? I mean, again, you're talking, like, you're on this app to create a relationship with somebody. Like, you're trying to find someone to have a relationship with, but you're not being honest with them. Why? What's the point of lying about where you work? What's the point of lying about what kind of car you drive? What's the point of lying about how tall you are or where you were born? Like, it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't matter, because a person should love you for you and everything that comes with you, including your car and your job and wherever you were born, your nationality. All of that comes with you. And if somebody can't accept that, then kick them out of your life. You don't deserve them. Well, they don't deserve you. Whew. I'm trying to think specifically. I haven't scrolled on Tinder in a while, guys. Oh, I got it. To the men. This is all going towards the men of Tinder, because I've gotten some really interesting lines. So, let me start this off by explaining that I have a really bad gag reflex. The thought of certain things that gross me out literally makes me gag. I am trying so hard to focus on my words so that I don't think of something that I think is gross, so I do not gag. But with that said, obviously, there are other ways that people can have their gag reflex enabled. And we're talking about Tinder, so just read between the lines here. We're going to talk about men's scientific word is penis. So we're going to use scientific words here. Can somebody please explain to me why the fuck this will forever go down in history as the weirdest and best response I've ever gotten on Tinder. And it was to the gag reflex comment. Don't worry about gagging, I'm only 2 inches. What? First of all, I hate you because of that comment alone. I hate you for that, because in my bio, it says, if you're only DTF, just know I have a bad gag reflex with the crying laughing face emoji. And I put that there because before that, a lot of people were making comments about how I have DSLs. If you don't know what that is, you are way too young to be watching this podcast. Please exit now. I probably should have disclaimed that at the beginning, actually. But I had a lot of people asking like what that mouth do, and I was like, no. It eats ice cream occasionally. Like maybe once a year. That's about it. And drinks apple juice. Like I'm a 5-year-old, bro. Don't be asking me what my mouth do. Like it does a lot of things, and most of it is just talking your ear off. But after putting that, I had a lot of people, instead of like not commenting on it or realizing like I'm not here to have sex, it was like, I bet I can change that. Like, to the men of Tinder, I hate that you guys don't know how to read between the lines. Like sometimes it's put right in front of you. Just it's flat out put in front of you. Like on my bio, I perfectly explain that I am a freaking psychopath. Sometimes, if I really like you, I'm a psychopath. And I do enjoy sex. Like it's a normal thing. Like I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm not ashamed to talk about sex. I'm ashamed to talk about it when my dad could possibly be hearing me though. But at the end of the day, I'm not on Tinder to have sex. I was on Tinder to meet new people, and then everybody's talking about sex, and I'm like, what are we doing? I wanted to be over here. I ended up over here. It's like when you go on TikTok, like you create a TikTok account, and then you somehow end up on Kink Talk, and you're like, I was on Good Christian Minecraft server. What happened? Like, that's how I feel when it comes to Tinder. Not TikTok. I like TikTok. TikTok's weird. If you're wondering, yes, I am on Kink Talk. I'm also, for some reason, on Drunk TikTok, which I don't know how that happened, but I'm okay with it. I now know how to make myself black out before I wake up with a coffee vodka drink. Hey. But just men. I hate that 90% of the time all you want to do is have sex. Like seriously. If you're talking to a guy for the first time, I guarantee you sex is going to come up in the conversation 90% of the time. And you guys know I'm not wrong. You know I'm not wrong. My coworkers know I'm not wrong. I have told this to my coworkers, and they're all like, you're definitely not wrong. Like, everything's about sex these days, and it's absolutely annoying. But I'm glad that we're getting the taboo out of the way. Speaking of sex, I would love to go into things I hate that people do during sexy time. Because these are things that make me hate people. Like shit like this actually makes me want to like curl up in a ball and just die, like Frank Sinatra sings, and that's life. Like that's how I feel. Number 1. Let me just say this to the boys of the world. If you are getting oral, you better keep your hands off of my head. It is very simple. First of all, some of y'all are just gross. Some of y'all don't know how to wash. And some of y'all genuinely don't understand that we can tell. Like, we can actually tell. And it's gross. So, just know that if you are receiving, you are being given a present. However, if you explicitly say, are you gonna suck my dick or something like that, I hate you. I hate that. I absolutely despise that. That makes me hate every single person on this planet with a penis. Because that's no, that shouldn't be your first thought. It shouldn't be. And if you ever have to ask somebody or tell somebody to do that, then you're doing it wrong, and you could potentially be manipulating them into doing it. And I'm going to explain that right now, because I'm about to expose half of y'all bitches. I already know it. To my ladies out there with their boyfriends who, to the girls, blah, 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 let me rephrase that. To the ladies out there who do not like to give oral and whose boyfriends love to receive, you know what I mean by sometimes you're in a mood, sometimes you don't want to. But when you're asked when you don't want to, or when you're told or hinted at, you feel guilty for not. Especially if you guys just had some sexy time and you know he didn't get to finish. That is the worst guilt trip. And I hate that. I hate that men sometimes, again, I will say that 90% of the men out there are like this. And I'm reserving 10% because I cannot, I need to believe that there's at least 10% of men that are good. There's 10% of good men out there, man. I need to believe that in my soul. Otherwise, I'm going to have to turn lesbian. That's a problem. I'm not drunk. I'm not high. I'm completely sober. I'm just... That's funny in my head. But the audacity that you must have to think that you're entitled to oral or a hand job is just ridiculous, and you need to get it out of your head. Because believe it or not, like, I hate to burst y'all's bubbles, women don't finish as often as men do. It takes a woman about, I think the statistic is like 10 minutes to orgasm, and it takes a man around 2 minutes to get to the point of orgasm. It's absolutely ridiculous for you to feel entitled to finishing when I, as a woman, at least medically, statistically don't get to finish as often. So, you're an entitled prick. However, I will say that if you are a guy and you go, babe, I'm so sorry to ask you this. I know it's not the right thing to do. I know it's like, I'm so sorry to ask. And you're just like, but can you please, like, just, I'm having a shitty day, or like explain it. If you're going to ask for it, just say please, say you don't have to, and explain why you're asking. And don't just say I'm horny. Like, that's, because believe it or not, us ladies appreciate it more when you're like, babe, I know you don't like to do this, but, you know, I had a really bad day at work. Do you think we could get a little sexy time in? Or, you know, if you're not feeling up to sexy time, maybe just good old handy. Like that's so much, I would appreciate that so much more than, like, so you gonna suck me or what? Like, get out of here. Get out of... That one looked fake, but I genuinely don't know why I stuck my tongue out. Don't think about it. Another thing. Look. This makes me hate every single person in the planet who does this. If you tease me and you have absolutely no intention of taking it any further than teasing, this is my response. This is it. Because you don't deserve me. Like, you don't understand. I am a level of freak that is unmatched, and if you tease me, you better be ready to take your clothes off. Like, that's bottom of the line. And I don't think people understand that a lot of people in this world are like that, and it's really frustrating to be purposefully teased and then nothing happens from that. Actually, I had, just thinking about this makes me mad because at the time I didn't realize how fucked up it was. I had a friend who I went over to his house, and we were he has a girlfriend. Let me just state that. Like, I wasn't, nothing was going to happen. But at some point, it was myself, one friend, and another friend. Those two had been friends for years. At some point, that one friend just started teasing me constantly, whether it was smacking my ass and I was left with a red handprint, whether it was biting my neck or pulling my hair. He was just constantly teasing me that entire night, and I was like, I hate you for every second that you're doing this to me, because not only are you in a relationship, but you know that you are teasing and you are purposefully leading me on in this way. And for that, you are awful. That's one of the worst things you can do to somebody, in my personal opinion. Like, aside from murder them or like steal their boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other, like, I don't think people understand how painful it is. Because it can be painful to just hold yourself back. I'm calm. What else? Let me just move on. Let me think about something else. You know what else I hate? I hate when this is not related to like relationships or Tinder or sex or anything. I absolutely fucking hate that there's so many manipulative people in this world. And I mean that with all of the bones in my body. There are some people in this world who are just so good at manipulating others that you don't realize you're being manipulated until you step out of that situation. And honestly, why? There are just people who... The people who manipulate are the ones who cause people to be distrustful. And those are the ones that cause people to lie because they're trying to protect themselves from being hurt. I've been manipulated before. It is not fun. Especially when the entire time you're being manipulated, you don't know. And you don't find out till after. That is awful. And people who do that are fucking psychopaths. I'm sorry. I'm saying it now. You're a psychopath. And if you are specifically watching this, you're psychotic. And I hope you know that. If that person knows who that's for. But I hate manipulative people. That is awful. I hate it. Why can't you just, dude, if you want somebody to do something, just say, hey, can you do this for me? It's that simple. And if they don't do it, they don't care enough about you. Well, depending on what it is. Let me just disclaim that. But if it's something simple like, hey, I'm really hungry. Do you maybe have like $2 or $3 that I can borrow so I can get some food? Versus, hey, did you have the $2 that you owe me? Oh, no, I promise. I wrote it down. Here, let me find it. Typing it in. See? This person owes me $2. Yeah, but I kind of can't. I kind of really am hungry. Like, don't manipulate people. It's simple as that, really. Just don't manipulate people. I genuinely don't know what else to say. Let me check if my mic is still on. We still have mic. Thank God. I got it. I got one. There's some people in this world who can't drive. I think I touched on that lightly in my last video. But then there's the people who just don't care when they're driving. Like, how do I explain this? You're driving down the road Cruising down the street in my 6'4". No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna get copyright stricken. Probably. That was a joke. Please don't. But driving down the road, just chilling out. And then all of a sudden, in your rearview mirror, you see this guy zooming towards you. And then at the last second, he goes around and cuts right in front of you. That person doesn't care. Fuck you. You almost got me into an accident. I have gotten so many close calls with idiots like that, not only on the expressway, but on city streets and in neighborhoods where the speed limit is 30 miles an hour, and in some cases, 15. I live in Miami. And I am telling you this right now as a citizen of Miami-Dade County. Not a single fucking person here follows the damn school zones. Not a single person. You know, I'm just going to say this now. If the cops in Miami-Dade County just sat outside school zones and sat at certain spots of certain streets where people like to just go 50 or 70, or even if they just sat at a 4-way stop, they would get more tickets than their quota if they actually did their damn job. Because this is not why I hate people. This is why I hate cops. I've never seen a fucking cop pull somebody over for speeding. Never in my life. I have never seen a cop pull somebody over for reckless driving. I have never seen a cop pull somebody over because their license plate was blocked, and that's illegal. I have never seen a cop pull somebody over for driving in the emergency lane on a highway. Why am I saying these things? Because I see these things at least once a day. And I have never in my life, and I have been watching cars for my entire life. I say that because I've just done a lot of road trips. I've basically lived in a car my entire life, and I've never seen a cop do any of those things. I've only ever seen a cop pull somebody over for running a red light, running a stop sign, or for parking. Like, they backed into, like, an accident. Like, that's the only thing I've ever seen a cop pull somebody over for or come to a scene for. It's accidents, red lights, and stop signs. That's it. They don't even, like, you have a broken taillight, you have broken brake lights. Oh, they don't care. You have a blocked out license plate. They don't care. You're going 80 and a 30. They don't care. You run a stop sign. Hold up, pal. Like, what kind of sense does that make, bro? Seriously, like, I feel like a lot of, specifically cops, like, I'm just going to say this. I feel like cops would not be, how do I say this without getting myself in trouble? I feel like if cops actually just arrested people for traffic violations like they're supposed to, we wouldn't have so many instances of police brutality. You know why? Because they'd actually be busy doing their job instead of looking for a problem. There are so many instances of police brutality that you look at the case and you're like, this man wasn't doing anything. Like, why was he attacked by the cops? And yet, literally, like, the next day you'll see robbery happened, like, 3 streets down from where this guy was attacked by the cops. Like, why didn't the cops go over there? Like, this guy wasn't causing a problem. It was like, what the fuck? That's it. That's all I can say to that is, why can't cops do their job? Like, I hate that. I hate that people can't see that it's so simple, but nobody will do it. That's what pisses me. If I was a cop, I would be pulling all of these motherfuckers over and handing out tickets like there's no tomorrow. I would know exactly where to park my car. I would know exactly where to be at what times. And I would tell my chief, I'd be like, yo, chief, send me a few people over here because we're going to get all the tickets racked up, bro. Park someone on the Palmetto, for fuck's sake. Like, you're gonna get at least 20 tickets in 2 seconds. Like, it's ridiculous. If cops were actually, like, doing their job when it comes to traffic violations, we wouldn't have stupid arrests. We really wouldn't, because there would be no reason to have a stupid arrest unless the cop is just having a lack of judgment. It's I'm sorry. I get very, very passionate when speaking about, like, police, only because I went to a high school for law enforcement, and I was also in the Police Explorers program, where I specifically remember when they're talking about, like, how to properly arrest someone. They taught us in Police Explorers how to properly arrest someone. And in Police Explorers, they say that you will always try the non-lethal options first. The gun is your last resort. The taser is the second to last. Baton, third to last. First resort, asking them to comply. That is the first thing you do. You ask them to comply. If they do not comply, you say it again. You keep going. You're like, sir, please turn around, put your hands behind your back. No, I'm not going to do it. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Not going to do it. Turn around and put your hands behind your back. You get more stern. And then if you realize the person is resisting arrest, if they're resisting arrest, that's when you say, if you do not comply, I will have to use force. That is what we were taught in Police Explorers. You know, the program teaching kids who want to be police some basics of being a cop. And what is one of the first things they show you? How to properly arrest someone. So explain to me, just real fucking fast, why my generation of future cops is being taught the proper way to arrest someone, but there's not a single example on the news of how to properly arrest someone. Like, I remember watching through the footage of Black Lives Matter, and I was shocked. There's one specific video of this man. He's in a crowd with everybody but him kneeling behind him. He's in the crowd. He's holding up a sign. You see a barricade of police. There had to be at least 100 police there. I don't know how many people were behind him. But he's screaming to the cops very politely. He's like, I want to get to know you. I want to know your family. I want to know your daughter. I want to be a part of your family. I want to be your brother. I want to be someone you can go to. We don't have to fight. He's being a pacifist about the entire situation, and he's explaining that nobody there wants to bring harm. They're just there to fight for justice peacefully. And at the end of the video, you see 2 or 3 cops pushing through the crowd to take him. He did not resist arrest at all. They take him, shove him to the ground, handcuff him, and as they're pulling him away, you hear a taser. It infuriates me that nobody's practicing what they preach. That's what I hate about people the most. That people do not practice what they preach. I'm sitting here and praising, positivity, love yourself, love your life, and, I'm still struggling with, loving my life and loving myself, but I'm working towards it. Which is better than saying, oh yeah, I'm a vegan, and then eat 5 burgers a day. You should go vegan. It's so much healthier for the planet. Eats bacon cheeseburger and a milkshake. Like, practice what you preach, bro. I apologize if you heard that burp. It's... So many people preach about loving yourself and how everybody's beautiful and this that, and the other. But you turn around and they're like, oh, look at that fat bitch over there. Like, rude as hell. Like, I go on my Instagram and I'm like, just have a good day, enjoy life, take some time for yourself. You deserve it. You woke up, you had to have at least used the bathroom today, which is good. And like, celebrate that. Celebrate the little things. And I'm over here like crying and breaking down because my car broke down. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, yeah, everybody has their days where they forget and they just want to completely break down and they just want to hide. Everybody has those days and it sucks. And those are the days that people say, you're being so hypocritical. But I think it's more important to practice what you preach 90% of the time. Because I do say 10% of the time you're allowed to just completely break down and just forget everything you've stood for. I think everybody gets to a point in their life where they will completely just forget their morals and they will just act on impulse. And that's fine. As long as you're acting on impulse isn't like murder or something. Like, don't murder. Oh, you know what? You know why I hate people? Because they glorify serial killers. I've been watching a series on YouTube a lot recently by Bailey Saran? I'm saying her name wrong. It's called the Murder, Mystery, and Makeup. And she has to say in every single one of her videos, pretty much, I'm not glorifying this. Like, guys, don't do that. Like, this is some fucked up stuff. Like, it is. So why are we glorifying Jeffrey Dahmer? Why are we saying, oh my God, he's so sexy? Like, bro, he ate people. He drilled a hole in somebody's head and poured hydrochloric acid in it. Like, this guy was fucking psychotic. I don't care if he's attractive or not. He's psychotic. Why are you glorifying him? Why are you making him seem like this god? He's not. Like, that's fucked up, bro. Like, you can be interested in serial killers and what they did. Like, that's okay. You just want to learn more. Like, you want to know, like, how people think. That's fine. Maybe you want to know the psychology behind it. Like, I don't know. I personally find that stuff fascinating. It's like, what drives a person to do it? Like, I was actually... Today, this case messed me up. This one guy in Germany in the early 2000s found a consenting victim to be cannibalized. And this guy was so adamant about eating a willing victim that he waited for almost a year until somebody came forth and was like, yeah, I want to be eaten. And apparently they exchanged, like, the guy who was going to eat him was saying all about, like, what he was going to do to him afterwards. And the guy who was going to be eaten's like, I want you to do this. And the guy was like, well, I don't want to disrespect you, so of course we'll do that. Like, he recorded the entire process. He explained to this man the process. And, like, it's a fascinating case. The only thing I can remember of, like, signifying which case it is, it took place in Germany around 2001, and it was something like the Cannibal Cafe. If you look up, like, that murder case, you might figure it out. But this guy only lied to the police once, and that was when he said that the meat in his fridge was pig meat, not human meat. Like, it's a fascinating case. And that case messed me up because it really made me question my morals. Because originally... Apparently, in the early 2000s, cannibalism was legal in Germany. I don't know who came up with that, but good for you. So, his sentence ended up being that he was guilty for manslaughter, because of course the victim did unfortunately die. I mean, first, he wanted him to bleed out from the wound that had already existed due to one of the requests that the victim had, but he ended up saying, "You're taking too long to die. I'm just going to slice your throat." The victim agreed, and they shared a kiss apparently. And then, yeah. So he was convicted of manslaughter and given 8 years, sorry. But the public wasn't happy with that turning. I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me. Like, I like to hear about these cases, not because I want to murder someone, but because I think it's fascinating to hear what's going on inside of their head when they're going through this process. Like, this guy had thought about this for years, about eating someone, fantasized about it, and it's a gruesome case, and I'm so sorry. I probably should have warned you. I'll probably put a trigger warning in the description, but it's truly a fascinating case, and it made me question my morals. And that's why I like to hear these, because it truly makes me think about the kind of person I am and what I would consider to be right and wrong. Like, personally, since the victim consented, like, the guy who ate him presented all of the emails of this guy consenting to being eaten and saying, like, I want you to eat me like this, and like stuff like that. But the public still wasn't happy with it. You know what my question is? This is why I hate people. Because people will be so unhappy with two consenting adults doing something that was legal. Like, it was literally legal in Germany at the time. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's messed up, but it was legal. And it was consensual. Like, people have such a big problem with this guy eating this other guy, despite the fact that they both consented to it. But these are the same people who will look at rape victims and go, but did you like it? Like, what is wrong with you? People have such a fucked up view of consent, man. Because when it comes to, shit that actually matters, which is everything, the opinions are everywhere. When it comes to sex, it has to be verbally spoken. And some people believe, if they say no, then yes, it's not rape. Like, that's, in my eyes, she said no. Like, they said no first. Like, that's not consensual. If they changed their minds and said yes, it's because you forced them into saying yes, in my personal opinion. But these two adults who both fully consented, there's literally a paper trail of it, and there's actually video footage of it, and apparently the footage is really fucked up, and the victim was enjoying it. I didn't watch the footage, thankfully. I don't want to. I kind of do, but I don't want to right now because I might throw up. But, like, they have such a hard time processing that, despite the fact that it's really fucked up and really gross to think about, it was still legal and between two consensual adults. To the point where these people fought so hard to get that ruling of 8 years overturned that now he's serving a life sentence. And he has since said that what he did was fucked up and turned vegetarian. So, I hate people because they don't know how to make their minds up, and they don't know how to keep definitions for words depending on a situation. Like, the situation shouldn't make you change your definition of what consent is. Consent means giving permission. If I did not consent for you to touch me, you do not touch me. If I did not consent for you to eat me, you do not eat me. If I consent for you to touch me, you can touch me. If I consent for you to eat me, you can eat me. That's literally how it should have been, but instead it was, oh my god, he ate a person. Like, so did Jeffrey Dahmer. It's not stopping y'all from freaking fangirling over him. Like, do you see what I'm saying here? Like, it's there's so many double standards. I hate double standards. That's what it is. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for the word double standards. I hate double standards. Get that shit out of here. And it's not just double standards when it comes to like word definitions. It's like double standards in general. I am sick and tired of flashing back to first grade. I need some strong boys to help me carry these chairs and tables. Like, guess what? I'm a strong woman. Like, let me help too. Even now. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. I do like it when a guy holds the door open for me. Like, that's really nice, and thank you. I appreciate it. But you know what I don't like? I don't like when they hold the door open for me to go into an auto parts store and then go, "Do you need help with something, sweetheart?" And I say, "Oh, no, I got it. Don't worry." And they respond with, "Oh, are you looking for your dad or your boyfriend?" I've gotten that multiple times, actually. Actually, specifically one time. I walked into Walmart to get coolant and oil and an air filter for my car, but I didn't know which filter I needed, so I was looking for the book that refers. And as I'm looking through it for my car's year, this guy comes and puts his head like right here, right over my left-hand shoulder. Mind you, coronavirus pandemic. Let me just say this is going on. And he goes, "You need help?" And I almost fucking punched this guy in the face. I turn around, I'm like, "No, sir, I'm perfectly fine." He's like, "Are you sure? I don't see anybody here to help you." Have you ever heard of Danica Patrick, sir? You know, the female NASCAR driver? Yeah, I'm pretty sure she works on her cars herself. And guess what? I don't need a man's help to work on my car. Unless it's my dad to remind me of something. Ugh, low battery. Oh. Well, that's okay. I'm almost at the hour mark. Let me just finish this double standards tangent I'm on. But, like, the biggest example of double standards I could possibly think of is I really hope none of that's picking up on the on the mic. I'm sorry. Is when I'm laughing because this is so true and everybody acknowledges it, but nobody wants to change it. When a son gets a girlfriend, it's congratulations, son, like, go for it, like, woohoo. When a girl gets a boyfriend for the first time, what's his name? Where does he live? What's his address? What's his parents' name? You're not going out with him past a certain time. You have to be supervised, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm sorry. Am I holding, like, the secret to World War or something? Like, shit. That's a lot. And I understand it's supposed to be so that you don't get pregnant and so that you're safe. But at the same time, it's like, if I'm old enough to be dating somebody and going on an actual date with them on my own, I'm old enough to know better. And if I fuck up, it's my fault. It's my fault. End of story. That's how I feel it should be, at least, instead of these double standards. And I also feel like men should be taught at a young age the same way that women are taught, like, you know, you have to I'm sorry. Women are taught at a young age that they have to learn to defend themselves because men can't control themselves sometimes. Men at a young age are told, go kick around a ball. Women are inside playing with dolls, playing family, and potentially by the age of 10 being told how to hit somebody with their elbow because that's the strongest point of their body if they try to attack them. I think that's messed up. I hate double standards. That's like the biggest thing I can say off of this. I don't know if earlier in this podcast, I've tried filming this podcast multiple times. Another double standard that kills me, I don't know if I said this already, like I just said, is body count. If a guy has a high body count, they're like, yo, dude, you got game. If a girl has a high body count, wow, she's a slut. Like, that's fucked up, bro. Like, I want to be able to call that guy who has a 58 body count a slut. Like, damn, look at that little whore over there. See a girl with a 58 body count. Damn, look at that girl. Like, I want to be able to, like, to talk to my friends about body count, because most of my friends are female, and be like, damn, you a sexy bitch. All of the boys want you. The same way that the guys do with the girls. The guys do with the guys. Because the guys will be like, hey, yo, she got the D. And the boys are like, yo. But the funny part is like, that can happen in public and everyone's like, woohoo. But if a girl goes, yo, he got the P. And the girls go, yes, bitch. Or something. Like, I don't know why I turned super gay for a second there. But, like, they do that in public and everyone's like, oh my God. Like, can we take the taboo off of sex already? Seriously? Can we take that taboo off, and can we actually talk about stuff that matters, like consent and police brutality and the fact that we still have racism happening in our country despite the fact it was not only fought about in a war to end slavery, slavery was abolished and it became illegal to discriminate based on race, color, or ethnicity. So, this is what I have to say to you racists out there. And I think we're going to end it here. I think I've talked way too much. And I will see you guys in the next episode of Closed Doors, which will be Why I Hate People Part 3. And boy, I'm just going to write a list for the next one of things like reasons I hate people, just so that I don't go on these tangents that I keep seeming to go on when I talk about why I hate people. So next time if you see me like staring over here, it's probably because I have a paper right there. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.